two SEC schools are trying to date the same guy. Former SEC coach tries to stop runaway train in Lincoln. Former Tigers quarterback finds way to stick around in the NFL, and much more. People finally notice an SEC champion quarterback is good at his job. A Mizzou QB finds a different way to make it in the NFL. 2024 QB DJ Lagway leads on both the Aggies and Gators. Mississippi State wants respect. A former LSU coach tries to put out the dumpster fire in Nebraska, and much more on this September 12th edition of the SEC Roundup. Earlier this week we noted that Nick Saban was facing one of his former offensive coordinators, Steve Sarkisian, and that after going 24-0 the Alabama head coach was suddenly 1-2 over his last 3 games against his former assistant coaches. But not all former assistant coaches. Austin, Texas. It seems that Alabama football may have a bit of a consistency problem. Hinted at by head coach Nick Saban after the Crimson Tide's 55-0 victory over Utah State last weekend, Alabama's inconsistency transcends more than as millions of fantasy football managers set their lineups Sunday morning. Many former Alabama standouts. TJ Finley has not started the season off particularly hot. Through the first 2 games of the season, Mercer and San Jose State, Finley is completing 64.7% of his passes while averaging. Auburn's game day experience on campus will be even more exciting as the Tigers welcome Penn State to Jordan Hare Stadium. SEC Network's weekly traveling pregame show. Auburn had significant roster turnover after the 2021 season, with 17 players leaving Bryan Harsin's Auburn program for greener pastures. The headline was Auburn Legacy. It's no secret that the Florida Gators have prioritized Willis, Texas, high standout DJ Lagway as their guy for the QB position in the class of 2024. 24 hours ago, quarterback Anthony Richardson was viewed as a potential 2022 Heisman Trophy contender and the type of. The Florida Gators' 2 games to begin the Billy Napier era have resulted in polar opposite outcomes. This time last week, the Gators were Georgia head coach Kirby Smart met with the media on Monday for his weekly press conference prior to the No. 1 ranked Bulldogs matchup with the South Carolina Gamecocks in Columbia, South Carolina. The Dogs' first-round game of the year. Georgia's starting quarterback Stetson Bennett defied plenty of odds in the football world long before he defied those who have cast doubt upon his capabilities as a starter. It's been one defying act. Former Georgia Bulldog and first overall pick in the NFL draft, Travon Walker, is balling out in his NFL debut for the Jacksonville Jaguars, making big-time plays, and the Nebraska Cornhuskers have fired 5th-year head coach Scott Frost after their loss Saturday night to Georgia Southern. Filling in as the interim coach for their program will be former LSU wide receivers coach Mickey Joseph. Joseph joined Frost's coaching staff. It's a new week for the Tigers as they look to carry their success into SEC play against the Mississippi State Bulldogs Saturday night. LSU was well represented in Week 1 of the NFL season, but one name stood out from the rest: Justin Jefferson. The Vikings' electric wide receiver Mississippi State has started its football season off on the right foot, but the program might still be heading into the 3rd week of competition overlooked. Mississippi State football, 2-0, remains undefeated after recording double-digit wins over Memphis and Arizona in the first 2 games of the season. The Bulldogs have shown improvement. Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott is out indefinitely after suffering an injury to his throwing hand in the team's Sunday night loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Prescott left the game with a former Missouri Tigers quarterback and current San Diego Chargers backup, Chase Daniel, might not take very many game reps, but that doesn't mean. The Missouri Tigers started the 2022 season in explosive fashion with a 52-24 win over LA Tech, where their prized 5-star freshman receiver Luther Burden III scored 2 touchdowns in his college debut. It looked like head coach Eli Drinkwitz had hit. When the clock struck 0 on the Missouri Tigers' 52-24 season opening win against the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs, there appeared reason to be confident again in Drinkwitz's Tigers. Defensively they looked. The Rebels took care of business. The Ole Miss Rebels kept their foot on the gas all night with a dominating performance against the Central Arkansas Bears, winning 59-3. The Ole Miss Rebels once again played 2 quarterbacks on Saturday night, and they once again made easy work of an opponent in a 59-3 win over the Central Arkansas Bears. The Rebels met little to no resistance. This time a year ago, Wayne Wells Jr., nicknamed Juice by his coaches and teammates, was getting ready to go up against Weber State, a school located out in Ogden, Utah, that play in the Big Sky Conference. South Carolina's loss against Arkansas shed light on their current situation. While they aren't a legitimate threat to win an SEC crown, they can play against any team in the conference. Part of their performance can be attributed to team culture. The Gamecocks fought until Tennessee came away with a 34-27 overtime victory, and the contest was a close one throughout the course of the game. As a result, the Vols newcomers weren't able to get nearly as many. Tennessee football starting quarterback Hendon Hooker has been named Tennessee football's head coach. Josh Heupel met with the media on Monday afternoon to further recap the Vols. The media has wasted no time ripping the Texas A&M Aggies and Jimbo Fisher for their recent shortcomings after their Week 2 upset loss to Appalachian State. But on Monday, outspoken ESPN personality Paul Finebaum College Station, one player typically won't define the outcome of a game, but it could pay dividends in the long run. That's the hope for Texas A&M entering a pivotal week in the program's season. A&M coach Jimbo Fisher said. Under head coach Jimbo Fisher, the Aggies